Good evening and welcome to the channel, guys. I am back and I've got some pretty cool information on the new Corvette. Before we do that, I want to say what is going on to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining in. As always, I promise this is going to be at least fun. But to get started, this is something I've been waiting for a while. I've been doing a lot of research on this car, and finally a few things have been confirmed for me. A gentleman that runs two different GM and Chevy dealerships in the metro area of Detroit has let me know that for the most part, what he sent me is almost concrete. Now, there are some things that are concrete and other things that are not. I really want to touch base on the things that are almost certain, if not certain. The things that aren't so certain, I'm going to try to leave those for the end of what I'm about to hit you guys with. What is going on, Frost? What is going on, Dalton, Josh, Ryan, Scott? What's up, John? What's going on to everybody in here? If I missed your name, I am sorry. Queen City, of course. There's two Johns, John Osborne and John's Hemi. What is going up? Or what's going on with you guys? Normal Man, Anthony. Normal Man, that's a good name right there. Anthony, what's going on, buddy? And Eric, Frost, Grind, and Duke's a Move. That's a pretty cool name. So I just like to give my subscribers a big shout out. I like to, respond to your guys' comments as well. Sometimes there's 400 on a video, and I'll go through and I'll respond to everybody that I possibly can. Well, except the trolls. I try not to feed them too much. In any case, what's up, Jose, Mohammed on Cars, Scat Pack, what's going on, buddy? All right, so we're going to hit this right now. If you join while I'm talking and I don't shout you out, I'll get to it. I promise I don't forget any of you guys. So what do we know about the C8 Corvette? Before we get to the good news, we're going to get to some bad news. And that is, as of the last, 24 hours, maybe day and a half, I've been reading a lot and hearing a lot how the Corvette has been pushed back anywhere to 6 months, 2 to 6 months. Supposedly, GM has an issue somewhere with the car drawing too much current in the electrical system, and they've pushed it back to fix this. Now, I'm not entirely sure which component is going, haywire in the car, but apparently during testing, they've realized they can't go on like this, and they are having to fix it. So GM has said anywhere from 2 to 6 months. May not be full 6 months, but they put it on a 6-month delay, which means we may not get the building or the beginning of the build process until this time next year, when it was supposed to start in September or maybe a little bit earlier. I'm not exactly sure of when they originally were going to start building, but I was told that it was summertime, end of summer going into September roughly, and now we're on a 6-month delay. So that's the bad news. At least the good thing is that they're trying to fix the issue before it becomes a serious warranty claim on a $150,000 car. You guys have heard that right. What's up, William? What's up, Christian and Zach? What is going on, guys? So here is what's coming for the good news for the C8 Corvette. It's going to be slightly heavier than a C7. Now, I know a lot of guys argued with me in the other video, or not really argued, but kind of rebutted the fact that a C7 is not more than 3,400 pounds, but that's incorrect. A C7 automatic Z06 weighs 3,600, and a lot of them weigh 3,650, 3,675. They're in the 3,600 pound range. The C7 is going to be heavier. It's going to be about 150 to 200 pounds heavier. We're not exactly sure of an exact pound measurement here, but it's going to be heavier, and that's where the estimates lie. As far as the good stuff, it's going to be all aluminum fiberglass, typical Corvette stuff. But on to the goodies, which is the specs of the Corvette. And if you're asking, why did Corvette go with a C8 mid-engine? What prompted Chevy to do this? I'm going to let you guys know that in the 70s, the first thoughts of that had begun. In 1986, they released an Indy car that they were going to do a mid-engine on. And then don't forget the Cadillac CN, which was a V12, 7.5 liter with 750 horsepower. Although it wasn't branded as Chevy, they were trying to show off the potential of where, GM and Chevrolet could go with insane supercar power and potential. So GM has been dabbling in mid-engine Corvette thoughts, flirting, so to speak, for 48 years, since 1970. So there you go. It's not like they just thought of this stuff, over the last 5 years. It's been going on for a while. So here is what we're looking at with the Corvette. And by the way, I will have pictures when I'm done explaining this on the screen. The specs we're looking at for the C8 Corvette, the first initial launch of the Corvette is going to come with your basic, C8 mid-engine basic. Really, C8 is going to have a mid-engine, and it's going to be called a basic trim. I have no idea, but I'm saying basic because when I tell you the first engine they're launching and then tell you the second and third, you're going to think the first one's poop, but in reality, it's not. So the first engine is going to be an LT1 upgrade at 520 horsepower. Now, this is coming directly from a dealership in Detroit, an owner in Detroit who's well connected with GM. And I've also, corroborated this story, multiple sources, including Car and Driver. They even said 520 horsepower. So it's pretty much a dead giveaway that 520 is the number they're shooting for on the LT1. It's your basic 520 horsepower mid-engine Corvette, okay? The next engine is the one that everybody is going to be interested in, and that is what they call a Ferrari 458-like engine. We're talking about a 9,000 RPM dual overhead cam 5.5. Yes, you heard me right. GM is going after Ford with a modular engine. This is insane. A 5.5 liter with a 9,000 RPM redline. Now, they are going to dial that back. I've been told this as well. It's not going to be quite 9,000. Who knows where it'll be? I imagine probably 8,200, 8,500, somewhere like that. But it's, it's going to be 9,000 RPM capable. I'm sure people are going to tune the shit out of it. But it's going to get right around 600 horsepower estimate. And it's a flat plane crank. Okay? So, yes, normal man, it is. The 5.5 is a flat plane crank. That's coming directly from GM. So that is going to be sick, if you ask me. Absolutely sick. 5.5 liter flat plane crank with 600 horsepower in a mid-engine car. That is going to give all the traction to the back tires. That's probably going to outrun a C7 Z06 right there alone. In fact, the LT1 with 520 probably would, just based off traction issues. Mid-engine's going to run better anyway. Now, here is the really nifty information that I find insane, the most insane news of the night. After they released the flat plane crank engine, which, by the way, will come, I'm not 100% sure, he didn't, tell me for sure if this is what's going to happen, if that's going to go into Grand Touring, but there's going to be a luxury version of the C8. That's what I was told. I don't know why or how, but it's going to be more on par with the Mercedes kind of deal. It's going to be a mid-engine, but it's going to be more luxurious. They're going to call it the Grand Touring. So you're going to get a Z06 and a Grand Touring. That's the 520, and the flat plane crank's probably going to go in the Grand Touring, or vice versa. He didn't explain that, so I am guessing on that. We do know, or I do know and explain to you guys, both those engines are legit. Both those trims are going to be pretty much legit. The Grand Touring is coming. I just don't know which engine they're sticking where. He didn't explain that. But there is going to be a Grand Touring, more luxurious. Now, with the flat plane crank producing right around 600, it could produce a little more, a little less. It's estimated right at 600. They have a third engine, which is going to be the ZR1. Now, the ZR1 is going to be about a year or two after the launch, so I would not expect to see the ZR1 until 2021 or 2022, just in time for all the other cars that are coming out. It's like a friggin' war zone here. But this is the big news of the night. Okay, so the third engine is a 5.5 liter flat plane crank, same engine, I would imagine slightly different in some ways than the first or the second engine that has 600 horsepower. It's going to be a 5.5 flat plane crank, twin turbo. They're going to add the twin turbos, intercoolers, all kinds of stuff's going to get added to make this achieve an astronomical number of 850 horsepower. Now, this comes directly from Car and Driver, Motor Trend, and my sources say the exact same thing, except there's one little piece of information that I didn't get from Car and Driver that I've actually got from the email that's totally separate, and that is the fact that there'll be no manual transmission in the C8. If there is, GM's covering it up they're just covering it up to the point where it doesn't exist, because everybody's saying the same thing. There's going to be no more messing around with torque converters, which is what my guy in Detroit has told me. There's no torque converter. There's going to be no manual. It's going to be a dual clutch DCT, and they're working with Tremec on that. So there's not going to be a manual transmission in the C8. And if there is, GM has kept such a tight lid on this, nobody knows about it. So with the automatic transmission, 850 horsepower, twin turbo flat plane crank, I would expect this to be insane and astronomically fast. Like I would think there's just no way to even guess where this would run. I would be disappointed if this car didn't run low nines, and I'm just being realistic here. I mean, if you look at the McLaren 720, it's about 130 horsepower less than the Corvette. And so and it runs low 10s, so I'd expect the Corvette to run mid 9s without even breaking a sweat. This is insane. It's utterly insane. The only thing I hate is the fact that a lot of guys are going to be pissy about no manual transmission. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you need to be able to shift this quick enough, and I just don't think a manual transmission is the way to go. People are going to feel like it's more of a driver's car, but I just feel like an automatic DCT is going to be the better of the two. So, thanks. My brother's in here. Thanks, buddy. So, pricing is going to make everybody sick to their stomach. Quite sick to their stomach. And I really want to touch base on one more thing before I get to the price. There's basically another, piece of information here that I've neglected to inform you of, and that is after 2 years, this is what the email said, which means the ZR1 is going to have to come within 2 years, because after 2 years, Snowboat's already sick, they're basically adding an electric motor to the C8. That's right. So from what I've received, they're going to have the ZR1 with 850 horsepower. They're going to add a 200 horsepower estimate electric front motor to the front wheels to give it all-wheel drive, and you're going to be looking at about 1,050 from the factory. If that car can't run 8s, then something's seriously wrong. And, that's to come right after. So I'm going to basically give you guys the price now, then I'm going to give you the cliff notes. So anybody who wants to skip through this video, and they're out there, they just don't want to hear anything except right to the point. So we're going to do that next. But the price is supposed to be about $120,000 for the entry model, 135-ish to 140 for the next model, and 155, 160 for the ZR1. That's what we're looking at for price. Now I'm going to give you guys the cliff notes. The C8R is going to probably be the one with the electric motor, or it could be the one with the twin turbo. Not exactly sure how they're doing that just yet. The C7 is going to get made alongside the beginning and initial stages of the C8, but by the end of 2019, they're phasing the C7 out. So this time next year, C7 is totally done. That's what I'm hearing. So let's give you guys the cliff notes. GM has been sleeping on the idea of a mid-engine Corvette since the 70s. They even teased it in 86, some ideas, and a test car. They also released a 750 horsepower test car with a V12, 7.5 liter. It was a Cadillac Sienne. Then they've officially got to where they're at now with a C8 Corvette with 3 engines, aluminum and fiberglass, LT1 520 horsepower, flat plane crank, dual overhead cam V8 5.5 liter, producing around 600 horsepower with a 9,000 RPM redline Ferrari 458 like is what they call it. The third engine is going to be the same 5.5 liter with twin turbo intercooled, producing 850 horsepower. And they're going to add on a 200 horsepower front wheel drive electric motor, which is going to give it 1,050 horsepower within the second or third year of the C8's lifespan. So that is insane. Pricing to range between 120 and 160 depending on the trim. You can imagine the latter of that is going to be 160. So there's your cliff notes for anybody who wants to spit it all out in 30 seconds. There's going to be no manual transmission from what I'm being told and what I've read. It's going to be a dual clutch DCT only from Tremec, and they're working on that right now and just finalizing everything. And the Corvette has been delayed 6 months or 2 to 6 months based on some electrical current malfunction and draw on the car. We don't know what it is because GM hasn't even figured it out yet, and this just was posted yesterday. So, yeah. So let's just move on now to the pictures. I'm going to put those up for you guys. Okay, so this is pretty much what it is going to look like. Now, before anybody gets in, there's some crazy trolls that float around my page. And look, I'm going to give you guys an invite. If you're a troll on my page, I invite you to actually watch my videos, as I am very welcoming, and I would love to have even the trolls on the channel to stop, coming in here with nonsense. Just watch the videos and communicate with me and my subscribers. You're totally welcome to stay. You don't got to stop in and troll around. But for anybody who thinks I hate GM or the Camaro or the Corvette, dead wrong, as I think this is probably the sexiest American car in the last 20 years. In fact, I would take a C8 Corvette over a Viper any day, and I love the Viper. So anybody who thinks I'm a GM hater, not true at all. I love this car. It's not out yet, but what it looks like and the specs have got me very excited. And I'm all about cars, period, not brands. So let's not say I hate GM or I'm a Camaro hater, because I am not at all. Just want to make that very clear. But it's a gorgeous car, and here is another one that's been spied. I don't know when or where, but that's the C8. I believe spied somewhere on a test track or maybe even the street. I'm really not sure. I can't tell because it zoomed in too much. It does look like snow on the road, though. Okay, so now I do have one more picture, and it's right here. My software is glitching. There we go. These are the pictures of the key fob. I agree, Josh. It's very amazing. And it does look like a 458 as well. And that's my favorite Ferrari ever made. So I guess that goes without saying why I'm pretty much in love with this car to begin with. But it is a very, very gorgeous car, and the power is there. And it looks like GM wants to smash the competition. Now, if you can't see how much GM wants to crush the supercar market, you weren't looking hard enough at the pictures of the specs, because this to me looks like GM's going after everyone. To be totally honest, I don't see a McLaren 720S being able to outrun a C8R Vet. I just don't see it happening. Sure, it's going to weigh about 400 pounds more, but we're talking about what here? 300 more horsepower with a DCT transmission. So I don't know. I think it's going to be 720 territory. I really do. I don't think that it's going to be on par with 570. GM is not a supercar brand, but this is not American muscle car. 9,000 RPM twin turbo mid engine car is not American muscle. And by my book, in any stretch of the imagination. And they don't have to be, a supercar company to produce a supercar. I mean, the C8R is going to be the race version of the C8, Top Dog says. And that's without, goes without saying. But I'm just going to tell you guys right now that I think that the C8 with the twin turbo 850 horsepower engine it's going to be 720S territory all day long, except you're going to get it for about $40,000 less. That's the only problem I see, is that people who want manual transmissions are going to be very bummed out. So I just, wanted to give you guys this update. Also, if you guys want to see, this is the old 1970 mid-engine Corvette prototype that I was able to pull from somewhere. I don't even remember where I got it from, but it was some, detailed page on the history of Corvettes. And I thought it looked pretty sick, if you ask me. Yeah, they don't have a manual transmission ready for this engine, Aaron. I completely agree. It definitely is a nice car, guys. It really is. I'm just going through, reading comments. Yeah, there's going to be, a lot of criticism on the Corvette, and there's also going to be a lot of love. It just really depends on what you like. I know there's going to be a lot of guys that love McLaren. But I don't think the C8 is going to compete with the P1. That's not even in the same league. I mean, the P1 is what? Millions of dollars. I mean, we're not even in the same category. But you saw it on Pinterest. That's pretty cool. But as an all in all, guys, I just, I really think that the C8 Corvette is going to shake things up. It's going to be probably, I don't even know why I'm saying probably, I just feel it's going to be the best car made in America, supercar-wise. I think it'll run circles around the Viper. That is just my guess based on the chassis, the mid-engine design of this Corvette. I think it's going to be an all-around monster, being able to run very good times in the quarter mile, and I expect to see lap times destroyed by this car. But we have to see. We have to wait and see, because there's no way to speculate that for sure. Yeah, and it's exactly, it'll run right with it. I think the C8's going to run 9.5 seconds. I mean, that's a guess, obviously, but you take a McLaren, it runs low 10s, like 10.1, 10 flat. Some of them, I think, even run 9.9. I mean, you give a car 200 more horsepower, 150 more horsepower, why can't it run 9.5, 9.7? I mean, we're going to have to see, but with the DCT, I think it's very possible. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys like Joey6 says, you know, they've always pushed for a mid-engine. There's been a lot of push for a mid-engine over the years, a lot. And GM has pushed it off. They pushed it off and just continue to push it off. Yeah, I mean, it isn't a quarter-mile car. Neither is a McLaren, but people still run it. You know, just because it's not intended for quarter mile doesn't mean people aren't going to run it. And in America, that's how people really, you know, measure up how fast a car is. We don't have a Nürburgring in America, so no one really gives a shit about the Nürburgring because we can't go there. So it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not trying to shit anybody's parade that likes track driving, but the reality is, why care about a Nürburgring when you can't go there ever? Where is the Nürburgring? Anybody even know? I bet you 90% of the people that know the name don't even know where it is. But in any case, the Corvette is a dream come true from GM. Hopefully you guys are really excited about this. And I mean, I'm pumped. I'm pretty sure Mike, my buddy Mike over at Street Speed, is going to get one. I would be blown away if he didn't. And if I'm going to recommend to him, I would get rid of the McLaren for the C8 any day. And I'm sure he's going to, at some point or another, text me and say, of course, because I know I would. The C8 is just nothing short of gorgeous, and I would love to see it in person. So thanks so much, guys, for everybody coming here and watching this. Get some thumbs up there for GM. We had over 140 in here at one point. Get those thumbs up for GM and the C8 Corvette if you're super pumped about it, because I know I am, and I can't wait to see it in action. I really can't. I've heard some clips of it, and it sounds nasty, purely nasty. The car is awesome. As far as the suspension, I'm not 100% sure. I know it's got active dampening, but I don't have any details in the suspension yet. Just the updates that I provided in this video. And if I get some more updates on the car, I'll definitely post a new video. Guys, the Red Eye update is coming tomorrow. Stay tuned tomorrow night. Huge update on the Green Monster, or the Green Beast, whatever you guys are calling it now. Big updates tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for everybody in here. You guys are the best subscribers on YouTube. I know I say it all the time. So I want to thank all of you guys for stopping in and watching this video. I really appreciate it. The Red Eye update is definitely tomorrow, and we'll definitely catch you on that live stream. Check out the store, drivewithdemons.com. Check out the store, once again, drivewithdemons.com. Key tags, hoodies, t-shirts, and more right there, guys, in the store. Also, if you guys want to hang out with me later on in the late nights, I am on Twitch. I got to stabilize the schedule on Twitch, but go over there, check me out, Drive with Demons. I stream all kinds of stuff for fun. You guys can hang out and chat with me over there for more content. We can definitely chat. Don't forget, check out my brother. He's in the chat right now. This Can't Be Happening. No spaces, all one word. This Can't Be Happening on YouTube. Definitely want to check him out. Some great content over there, guys. But that is going to do it. Thank you so much, AJ Mitchell, for subscribing, and welcome to the channel. I wish I could, shout out every single person, in this chat, but there's too many. So I want to thank you all at the same time. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for joining in for today's update. And we'll definitely see you guys on the next chat. And when this video posts to YouTube, comment, like, watch the video again, and share it. And like I said, we'll see you guys all later. We'll hang out in the chat tomorrow's live stream. And don't forget, guys, like I said, Twitch. If you guys want to chat with me later on, I'll be on Twitch. It's usually in the 1 a.m. area. Sometimes 2. I hang out there later on. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for stopping in. The C8 is going to be awesome. We'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone.